And thank you so much. For those who aren't familiar, I'm Claire Jefford. I am in a small corner here of Toronto, Ontario, and I am a interior decorator, a true color expert. Thank you to Maria Killam over there, and also a business coach. And I work mainly on residential projects here in the GTA. And I love color. I love color. I'm not afraid of color, and neither are any of my panelists here that we have today. So welcome. I'm going to throw it over to you, Rachel.
Let me unmute myself. Hi, everybody. I'm Rachel Moriarty. I'm an interior designer from San Diego, California. A lot of people refer to me as the Queen of Color. I love color. My projects are very colorful, and I self-express through my clothing with a lot of colors. So I'm happy to be here. I also design in a style that I call colorfully coastal. That's me.
Next, I'm going to welcome Susan Brinson. Susan, hello. Thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is Susan Brinson, and I am from I do a lot of work with creative direction and storytelling through color. And we're going to look at pictures from my personal project, which is our home in the Hudson Valley today.
Thank you. Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of being in Susan's home, and it's gorgeous, and seeing you on Instagram stories go through, and you know, just all of your updates and what you guys are doing is fascinating. So thank you, Susan. And Maria Killam, last but not least. Hello, my dear.
Hi, Claire. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Killam, and I am the True Color Expert. I've been writing my blog for 13 years, and what I do is help people create a classic and timeless home they'll love forever. I believe that color is more timeless than the current trendy neutral, but at the same time, I'm also the queen of neutrals and learning how to get the right neutrals in your home so that you're not walking around saying, you know, oh, my backsplash bugs me or my floor bugs me like that. So what I'm noticing right now in a lot of interiors is people are wanting to still incorporate gray into their beige rooms if they have beige. But anyway, we're going to be talking about all of that. And what else? That's it. I am, thank you for
you're the true color expert, the original true color expert. All right. Can you see my screen there, ladies?
Yes. Yeah?
Perfect. Okay, so I've cleverly called this Color Trends and Christmas Cheer and Color Predictions for the New Year, because if I can make things rhyme, then I get very excited about that. So this background photo that you're seeing is actually in Susan's home. So I've used all the ladies' pictures in different sort of ways here throughout the presentation. And if you want to, please connect with us on Instagram. Then this is all of our handles here. So take a look at that. And we'd love to connect on Instagram. As I said, I know all of us do stories quite regularly. And so the pretty photos are great, but we get behind the scenes and get a little bit dirty and, you know, share, you know, quite good tips and tricks. Anyway, I like to think so. So I follow all of these ladies and watch them regularly on their Instagram stories. Here we are. So we're going to look at Color Trends 2021. This is Rachel's, one of Rachel's projects. I love the color that we got here, but wait till you see this next slide. We're going to start off because we know that we've seen in the color trends this year with Benjamin Moore and everything that has been sort of predicted. We've got a lot of greens in that. And so it'll be interesting to see what our color predictions are for each of us afterwards. But, you know, in the majority of these, you know, projects that you're going to see in homes, you know, a lot of color is happening, and some neutral stuff as well, because neutrals are still popular, as Maria had said there. So yes, so Rachel.
Yes.
Rachel, this, I saw the before photo. You guys, look at this. I saw the before photo on your Instagram, and it was an empty caravan. It's a
1973 Airstream Argosy that it wasn't empty when we got it. We gutted it. But you can imagine it was from 73 and it was disgusting once we gutted it. So we actually had this airlifted into my client's backyard, over her house, into her backyard. This is no longer a travel trailer. This is just sort of an outdoor Moroccan lounge space.
Very cool. And so what was your sort of, like, how do you start a like, first of all, I just want to say that, you know, anyone that's hiring you, I'm sure they know they're not going to get a white roof. They are going to get color and vibrancy. And so when your client came to you for this project, can you just tell us a little bit about, like, how do you even start a project like this? How do you know where to start?
You know, for me, it's just we start in ideation and we just take limits off of things and have a lot of fun. What I notice with my clients, the clients that I attract, is I'll go in and we will start talking about stuff and start kicking around ideas. And you know, it's usually that thing that they say right before I'm about to walk out the door, like, wouldn't that be cool if we did an I Dream of Genie bottle inside the Genie bottle? Or wouldn't it be cool if we did a cosmic kitchen? And I'm like, that is really what you wanted to say when I first got here. And so that's where we're going. So I love a very experiential sort of interior. I was a photo stylist for 15 years, a photo and prop stylist. And I think sort of in the cinematic kind of dramatic way. But this one was I loved I Dream of Jeannie when I grew up, and I always wanted to live inside of her bottle. And so that was one of the ideas that we kicked around, and it sort of went between that and a Marrakesh kind of lounge. And yeah, this is kind of where we ended up, which is so much fun.
It's amazing. And what is your like your jumping off point? Like for me, it's always like a fabric or an area rug. Like what was your jumping off point for the colors in this space?
For me, I work with a muralist, and she helps me a lot. So I really wanted it to feel like we were under this, you know, Moroccan sky. And then I wanted you have to think of an Airstream. If you've ever seen the inside of an Airstream, it's panels of metal. It's very cold. And I wanted this to feel textural. And so we did sort of this plastery color. I think all blues are neutral. I think I can't remember who came out with naval. Was it Sherwin-Williams came out with naval and they said it was a neutral? I've been using blue as my neutral for years. And so for me, this is a neutral, and it created a canvas for a lot of vibrancy.
It's gorgeous. And can I just ask, so the gold that you see, is that stenciled on the ceiling there?
Yeah, it's gold leaf. Yeah, it's hand stenciled.
I love it. And your clients, they live in, like, they hang out in this space. This is kind of like a little retreat.
Yeah, it's sort of just a little fun retreat in the backyard. We're working on the exterior now, and so it will be part of the fun sort of area back there. But I jumped in for the one room project. It just happened to land at that perfect time. So I was like, let's get this done in 8 weeks.
It's like a she shed.
Yes.
Yeah, real glammed up one.
Yes,
yeah, for sure. It's gorgeous, Rachel.
Thank you.
So I'm going to take us through to the next slide, which is also 2 of your projects. Now, these are 2 different projects, right?
Yes. So the one on the left, the flamingos, that is an actual travel trailer. That's an Airstream Bambi, a 22-foot Airstream Bambi. And these have to be when you're designing travel trailers. And I think everybody should design their travel trailer. If anybody has an RV or a travel trailer, they are the ugliest things inside. I do not know where they get their upholstery, but that whole industry needs to be blown up.
Well, hello, isn't that?
I agree 100%.
I'm ready to lead the charge on that one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're terrible.
So my client is a single woman, and she was not vibing with that whole, she loved the Airstream. Of course, everybody loves the Airstream from outside. It's classic 1940s Americana, but on the inside, she wanted to feel, a little bougie. She travels with her 2 poodles, and we did kind of give a nod to that 1950s flamingo vibe that a lot of Airstreams, have. And so we just really lean into it. I used a lot of vinyl film on it. You have to be careful about weight on travel trailers because you're pulling it. You have to be careful for balance. And then I went in with 13 Umbrella fabrics and reupholstered everything.
Wow. And so was the mural sort of your jumping off point in this?
The mural is another client. She is a gaming mogul. She's out of the gaming industry. I've never met a gaming mogul before.
Oh, the one on the right?
The one on the right. And she has a very big house, and we're finding functions for some of these rooms. So this is her roller skating room. We call it the Pastel Tron room. So we collaborated with a couple of guys called Very Gay Paint. They're very popular. If you're not familiar with them, go on at Very Gay Paint is their handle on Instagram. You have to follow them. They're comedians. They went into, because of the pandemic, they had to stop doing comedy shows. So they went and started painting all of these murals. They helped Kelly Wursler launch her paint line. They, I'm in San Diego, so they work with Jason Mraz, who's a famous musician. They work with a lot of celebrities, and they did also a rainbow slide for us, which got 4 million views on TikTok. So they're amazing. So if you definitely look them up.
And so it's the Very Gay
Paint. Very Gay
so
Paint.
VERYGAYPAINT.
Yes.
Okay, on Instagram. All right,
yes.
Check them out. Now, can you tell us here? So I love the way that's like it's coordinating in the foreground here. This is like just trying to think of the name of that fabric.
The tulle. It's a vintage dress. And that was sort of the jumping off point for the color scheme.
Wow. And so did they custom make this mural for you with these colors?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Because you can see them again repeated in the skates there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm sure you'll have some questions at the end here, Rachel, because your designs are always so vibrant, and you're one of the people that I look to when I'm wanting some sort of inspiration and something fun and just really out of the norm, like something that was been locked into the genie bottle and then you bring it out. Right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You. All right, we are now going to look at Susan from the House of Brinson. Susan, this is in your home, a Moody Victorian washroom is what I named it. You might have wanted to give it a different name. Can you tell us a little bit about this project and this deep gray and the floor tile?
Yes. So our house, we're undergoing a slow renovation on a very large old home. And this is, the home typically would not have had a washroom on the first floor. So someone added it at one point in time, and we had to take the entire thing apart and rearrange all the fixtures with the exception of this sink, which is original to the house and was probably installed sometime around 1890. We get a lot of questions about the P-trap on the sink and that it looks like a music note.
It does.
It does. It's cool, right?
Wow.
So we had to gut everything. There was no original features in here. So we copied the paneling from, I think someone, oh, there it goes. So we copied the paneling from our dining room and then added a little bit more trim to it just so that it wouldn't feel like an exact copy, and used anaglypta wallpaper, which is on the top half of the room, and painted everything out in a single tone, which I had done in a room previous to this, and it created a lot of conversation. This is, to me, like a very British Georgian style way of painting, is to paint everything one color.
Yeah.
And in our house, it's really helpful because the house is so big. It makes the rooms feel a little bit less busy whenever you enter a room with like a lot of very intricate millwork, or like our base molding is like 12 inches high. So
yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. Actually, I can see that here. It's huge.
Yeah, the scale of the house is really large. So that's one way, like with paint, is one way that I calmed it down. And I went neutral in this bathroom just because like the color story of this house is so overwhelming, especially whenever I'm working very slowly. If I wanted to change this bathroom to fuchsia in 5 years, I could.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. I have a black and white floor that's a neutral. The sink and the toilet, of course, could change. I could put a black toilet seat on that toilet, and paint would completely transform this room. So when I designed it, I wanted to keep that in mind, that I'm building this bathroom for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Not some quick renovation that's gonna, change in like, 3 years or something like that. So that's all about our bathroom.
And it's interesting you say that, because we did that in our own bathroom last year. So we did black cabinetry, white flooring, white countertop, black sink, white tile, and then we added this really bold, fun wallpaper. And afterwards, I was like, it's like this was planned, but I was like, all I need to do is just change out the wallpaper and get new towels, and this could totally be a different bathroom. So same sort of idea here. And I love your little tip in terms of painting everything the same color, as to not to overwhelm especially as I said off air when we were all chatting before, like I've been to your house and it's, you know, it's gorgeous and stunning. And it is, you are going to be renovating that house for a very long time. It's huge.
It's pretty big. I feel like I'm getting a grasp on it now, just because we finished a decent amount of it and I know a little bit more of the rhythm of the house. So it's coming along.
Well, this is gorgeous. I love this. Maria, you like the dark?
I love it. It's beautiful.
That's
Somebody
awesome.
today actually, yeah, I just posted that on my Instagram where somebody had said, Maria, like, what do you think of this gray? And everybody's going on about how great it is. I said, yes, because it's, you know, they've got the 2 green sofas in it. It's got all this beautiful molding. I mean, this is stunning, obviously. Yeah. So you got to consider all the details. Don't just throw up that random, you know, dark color without pulling it all together like this has been. It's beautiful.
That's right. And what's on the top left here, Susan? And I'm looking at in the center photo. What are those all on the wall?
Oh, those are they're modern, and I don't know if you've ever heard of these little, like, I think you're called intaglios. It's something that during grand tours that people would take in like the 1870s or 1880s, you would travel the world and you would get these little like plaster medallion, like little ovals to represent the places that you had traveled. And artist Ron Nicole, or Ronnie Nicole is her handle. She made all these little floral plaster inspired by old intaglios ovals to hang on the wall, and there's 100 of them in different sizes, and they're just kind of hung a little chaotic and wild, which is a great surprise. It's like you don't see it when you walk through the door of the bathroom. You see a cabinet. There's a large cabinet in this bathroom, so it is a bit of a surprise whenever you turn around and you can absorb the space. It is a decently sized bathroom because it runs where an old servants' hallway used to be. So it's it's like really wide and kind of a large space.
Very cool. And then I know you do a lot of like, you know, estate sales and antique hunting. And so is that kind of where you get your pieces, right?
Oh yeah. I'm a digger. I can find anything.
I've seen your stories. I know.
Oh yeah, I can find anything. This project is a guest room of ours, and we did this for the One Room Challenge. And I wanted to do something really bold because it was in a guest room. So the ceiling is painted one shade of blue. The walls are painted another. And there are, I think, 4 finishes of paint in here, everything from a flat to a high gloss.
And can you tell us, first of all, what the paint colors are, if you remember, or a couple of them, and then also where you applied what and why? Like, why did you go gloss and matte?
Sure. So we have really old plaster walls and they're very imperfect. It's something that my husband and I discuss quite a bit. We do not want these walls to look perfect. In this house, it would look awkward and very false. So we do leave a lot of texture on the walls rather than letting them, you know, be perfect. So on the ceiling, we use very flat paint. This is all Faro and Ball. I'm going to pronounce the name of the teal color wrong. What is it? Is it Inshira, or how do you say that?
Oh, Inshira blue. I don't.
I forget how you pronounce it, but that's the name of the color on the walls.
Nice.
The ceiling, I forget, but it's also Faro and Ball. And so on the walls is like the 2% estate emulsion. And then it's the high gloss on the inset panel molding, and then like the semi-gloss from Faro and Ball on the molding around the ceiling and then the baseboard.
And so with it being on the wall there in the 2%, does that sheen sort of show the bumps and lumps and sort of, right? Does it?
Very minorly. It's not super high gloss, so it's not, you know, it doesn't look bad, but it definitely doesn't hide anything either. It just lets the house be as it is.
Yeah.
The house is, you know, probably from the early 1800s, and it has some imperfections. So I feel like it lets that type of imperfection shine.
Yeah, and it's nice to embrace that, where, like you said, like you're not going to be able to make it perfect. Can you tell me this wallpaper here in the picture on the right? Is that a Gracie wallpaper?
Yeah, that's Gracie. I was chatting with Jen Gracie about doing this project, and I told her, I'm like, I want to use something historic, but it doesn't have to be from the early 1800s. And the Gracie family has owned this company since, I think, 1910. So she went back into her archives and pulled out this sample that was her grandfather's. and we think that it's from the 1930s or 40s. And she's like, what do you think about this? And I was like, I love it. So
Yeah.
so the design, she had a small sample of it, and it was recreated around the room for these specific panels in this small dressing room. This room is kind of divided into two spaces. There's the main part of the bedroom with the bed and a few case goods in the seating area. And then there's this little dressing room. And then, of course, the bathroom in the next room. So in this little dressing room is where we did the Gracie wallpaper.
Now, if anyone's not familiar with Gracie, it is it's all hand painted, right? All their
it's like
wallpapers.
Yep, it's like having an unframed watercolor on your walls, and you can have certain things done to it. Like if you wanted to use it in a bathroom and you were afraid of it getting wet, you can seal it, and there are steps that you can take to make it, you know, a little bit more functional. We went with a very matte, like the background almost has like a beautiful like mottled texture to it to make it feel a little bit older in this particular space.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. We actually went to the showroom, didn't we, in LA when we went together on that tour, Susan?
Yeah.
All those years ago when we could travel. Right? And so did it sort of start with the wallpaper then? Because those have the tones of this Inchira blue?
It started with the paint color, and it started with the paint color, and I had some furniture in this very beautiful orangey tone. And I love wood furniture. I absolutely love it, and I will advocate for it always. So I knew that I wanted to work with those tones, and then with the wood and pulling in a little bit of those peachy colors and the blues and the rug, and then the wall color, it all just kind of came together. But I'd say the wall color really started it all.
Interesting. Because usually I'm like, just choose your paint color last, right? I love the rug too as well, by the way, Susan. Beautiful home. And you call this the Queen? The Queen?
Yeah, so we named all the rooms, not to sound super pretentious, but we named all the rooms of this house used to be used for breeding racehorses. And all the female horses lived here, and they never got their due respect. So we named all of the guest bedrooms after the female racehorses. And this is Queen of May.
Queen of May. Well, that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've been in that room. I've seen it. Is it the one with the ghost?
Yeah, there's lots of ghosts, trust.
I couldn't sleep well in your house, I have to tell you. I loved it, but that scared me. As soon as we walked in, Susan basically said, oh yeah, there's a ghost here sometimes. She showed us a video. She said the dog Sugar gets really, paranoid. And from then on, I was like, It's
a nice ghost. It's a friendly
ghost.
ghost.
That's what you said. So this one here is actually my project. This is, we name all of our projects too. We usually name them all. If you were to look at my website and my portfolio, it starts with like the paint color name or one of the paint color names. And this one here is called Collingwood Casual and Manhattan Blues. So much different. This is very light. The clients were looking for, something that was going to, she liked some of the farmhouse look, but we weren't going, the house isn't got the traits of the farmhouse necessarily, but love like the light blues and the grays and having white. So this is their living room that we did. And just a lovely family. I love when you work with fabulous clients. And my jumping off point for this room specifically really started with the fabrics. These are like Kate Spade fabrics that we found just in the beautiful blue tones. And she happened to mention to me that her and her husband, they both, in part of our research and getting to know them, they mentioned that they love traveling. They love New York, and they loved a couple of other places, Arizona. And so I happened to find these pictures, these canvas pictures, which tied in beautifully with all the fabrics and everything that we had chosen. And these here, and then we had them custom framed. So there's a little tip and I've had this done even from HomeSense. I bought a print for a canvas print for like $500. And I went and I paid, about the same price to have it custom framed. And it really just elevates, because canvases are nice, but, once you frame them, it really just elevates them. And so, we did use, some grays in here. They got the gray ottoman, which is like a suede on there. And we also had like this little nook on the right hand, on the picture on the right. And so they had this little built-in. And so we actually wallpapered her one wall downstairs in her home office, which I don't have a picture of here, but it's a beautiful corner desk my guy custom made. It's just fantastic. And so we had a little bit left over, and I said, oh, could we just do a little bit in the back end here in the shelving, a little bit of a peekaboo. So she loved that idea. And it's just really nice. It's kind of like a little ombre, as you can see,
it's really
going from
pretty.
like blue. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then just accessorizing, which isn't always my favorite bit, but I've gotten a little bit better with book style or bookshelf accessorizing, and that is definitely a bit of a knack. And Catherine and I have tried different things, and you know, it's so if anyone else there struggles sometimes with like placing accessories, it really is, you just sort of just go at it, and you have a bunch of stuff, have more than what you think you need, all different shapes, sizes, stacking things on top of one another. Books are always great, and then some of these books here we put like on an angle. You know, but we had so many more accessories for this, and we probably could have done like 4 different kind of looks for that one specifically. But yeah, so this was fabulous. And we also mixed with this, even though this was a custom design and project management, that's one of the services that I offer, that this is more of my high-end service, where we pretty much take the reins on everything. There was a couple elements that the client did, like, you know, we referred to them to buy, like, so this mirror just on the right is from I think it's Pottery. It's a Pottery Barn. Maybe a Pottery Barn mirror, and same with like the lamp in the corner. And so yeah, so sometimes it's nice to mix a little bit those high and lows. And then of course my ripple fold drapery, which I just love. Ripple fold, I love the way that it hangs, I love the way that it looks, and it's in this beautiful white unique, it's called Unique Fabrics. And so yeah, and the calling wood is the backdrop, so we just wanted something nice and neutral, and so that's what we landed on for that project. This one here is obviously quite different in terms of the vibrance, the colors that we use. But again, we have a neutral backdrop there that is pale oak. But I just want to point out, like, so my jumping off point for this project specifically, if you look in the left, on the picture on the left, this was my client's picture that her mom, she had given from her mom, from, you know, passed down from years. And it's kind of hard to see, but I think it's called Lady in the Window with Flowers or something. And it's almost like a lady's looking out the window, and in the foreground you see these flowers. But what I did was I color matched. I took out my Benjamin Moore fan deck and I color matched all of the colors that are in that picture. So, you know, the oranges, the greens, the blues, the pink. And from there, I found these 2 fabulous fabrics. One that you see on the ottoman, which is a cravat fabric. And my client was just so fun. I mean, she literally like said yes to everything. It was like, say yes to the dress. She said yes to everything that we presented, even added in a little bit more into the scope. They were so great to work with, totally trusting. And so I just love that ottoman, because it's really hard sometimes for people to commit to do something bold like that. And same with the drapery here that you see in their living room on the right-hand side. And so that's
super fun,
right? Isn't it fun?
Yes.
That fabric, thank you, Maria. That fabric in the ripple fold drapery on the right-hand side, that is that's a JF fabric, but it has literally every color of the rainbow in there. Like, there's purples, there's orange, there's yellow, there's blue, there's green. So it was great to work with that. And
are those both ripple fold windows again?
Yes, they're both ripple fold. The shears are not. They are a oh god, they're a pleat. I can't think
pinch pleat, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a pinch pleat. It's a but yeah, it's that sort of idea, but a thicker pleat. The name escapes me right now. But yeah, they're both ripple fold. So if anyone's not familiar with ripple fold, the rod actually has like the track of it is actually in the bottom. You slide it. So it's really nice for sliding. You know, sometimes you don't have to worry about those hooks and trying to get it over. Every client just loves these ripple fold draperies. I just love the way they hang. If you get the right fabric, it just hangs beautifully. And so yeah, and then we chose this wallpaper on the right-hand side here, which is actually a little bit out of my normal comfort zone. It wouldn't have been, I was at my design center, and so I love my local design center. And one of the managers there, she said, you know, what do you think about this or this? And I was like, oh gosh, you know, yeah, I get, you know. And so that's why I love when you can kind of collaborate sometimes, because it can be quite an isolating industry, you know, that we're in. And so, yeah, so it all came together beautifully. As I said, the clients were great. And then we just got a blue rug there to ground the space. The accent chair is that burgundy color, which again is repeated in the drapery and in the bird pillows. But yeah, so our client just recently wrote us a review on this, and she said, you know, not only did Catherine and Claire bring me a sunshine, but every morning I wake up to this lovely rainbow. And you know, that's what makes your job like so amazing, you know, that, you know, she walks down every morning and she's so happy to see this. So
yes.
So yeah, so so again, like, you know, and this room could be, you know, in years to come, you know, it could be changed out. Like, there's nothing that we've really select. It's not like a kitchen where we've selected like a bold countertop. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, the backdrop is fairly neutral. We've really popped with all of these sort of accessories and the decorating on there. So yeah, that was a fun project. All right, Ms. Maria Killam, on to you, my dear. The Luxe Living Room Refresh.
All right. Well, so I am doing this makeover in collaboration with Ballard Designs, and I literally designed this last year at like, I think it was even November, beginning of December, and it's taken a year for every single piece of furniture. So what was existing was the yellow sofa, and so the carpet, the coffee table, the mirror, the two chairs opposite the sofa, and then all the chairs around the dining room table were all from Ballard. And that white chair just arrived literally last week. So I wasn't able to photograph the room yet to show it. So that's why I thought that I would show the actual mood board that I had put together when we presented it to Ballard. And then there's a little sneak peek. What I did was we got this piece of art from Minted, because it picks up the lavender in the painting, the big floral painting that you can see on the right. Not very well, but and then I painted the ceiling lavender to coordinate with it, because, you know, I had this ceiling, my ceiling has been blue since the very beginning. And, you know, what's interesting about a blue ceiling is that people don't actually notice that your ceiling is blue, because, you know, it feels normal because it feels like the sky, right? So even if you have no blue in the room and you paint your ceiling blue, people still don't really notice it. It's only the designers that notice that my ceiling is blue. Nobody else ever mentions it when they come over. Yeah.
Was it a subtle blue?
The one I had before, yes. And I should have actually that's what we should have done, is showed what my current living room looks like right now. Because this is more of the subdued makeover, because my old living room had like raspberry drapes and black and white rug, and, you know, it was more colorful. So we went for a little more of a more glam. You know, I still wanted to repeat the yellow, right? And so I did that really technically through the leopard. And, you know, I just love leopard. And I guess it goes with my sort of glam look. I mean, you can tell that I dress that way as well. But I think people underestimate the power that leopard has to refresh even a room with a Tuscan gold beige sofa. You know, throw in some like leopard, because that picks up the gold, and leopard looks so good with orange and yellow and so many colors.
Yeah, so, you're right. Actually, it's funny because I'm just not a leopard, giraffe, zebra sort of like, I've never gone with like animal prints, but anytime I see them in people's designs, I'm like, they look amazing. Yeah. You know? And that's a really good point you bring up, of going with some of the older, you know, tones.
Yeah, and then it just kind of spices it up, right? And makes it feel a little more fresh if you're looking to do that with your sofa, right? I mean, never underestimate the power of a pillow, truly. I mean, you know, I have a lot of pillows in my life, and they're busting out of my closets. And
and what about the wall color? What's this wall color here, Maria?
Oh, so my wall color, yes, this is Navajo White, which in my system, you know, we recently introduced in the last couple years, because everybody just wanted the palest of the pale, but not everybody can have a stark white living room like a lot of what we're seeing in the world of modern farmhouse, right? Everyone wants that, you know, white look, but not everybody can have that. So the world of complex creams are the palest of the beiges, because they look cream, but they have the reed of cream, but with just the undertone of either orange or green or yellow or pink, right? Those are the four undertones of beige.
And what's the undertone of this one?
So this is an orange beige complex cream, Navajo White. Yes.
That's lovely. And I like your light fixtures too, like the gold, the brassy, which is really repeating the yellow again in a way.
Yes, that's right. And also, and I love those sconces, those wall sconces. Oh my gosh. Like I just love putting them on first thing in the morning, because they just kind of bring that side of the room to the living room, where I love to sit in the corner there with my puppy.
And they reflect on the wall, right? And then
they do actually. Yeah. And they kind of finish that wall, given that there's, you know, the painting and everything sort of in the center. So the sconces on each side just kind of, you know, finish the walls, which is great, because the room that I had before just had like a silver starburst mirror, and it really kind of disappeared at the back of the dining room. So it's a lot better now. So
I
I'm really
remember
happy
that.
with this. Yeah,
And
and
I
I can't
love
wait
your
to show it.
and I love your green. The green matches what you're wearing today, but you know, you can never go
Yes.
wrong with green. I know emerald green has seen a real resurgence in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it looks great here with those. Are those like velour or like velvet?
Yeah,
fabric?
they're velvet. Mhm.
And it always
Yeah, I
works
mean,
really
basically,
well.
I wanted to keep the yellow sofa, and I obviously had my big floral original artworks, and so that floral is, unfortunately, you can't see it very well here, but it has lots of big green leaves, which is where the green comes in, and then it's got the lavender in it and the yellow, of course. So yeah, so it's really
Beautiful.
super fun.
Beautiful. Love it. Now
Thank you.
now we're going on to your office.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And
So,
you and I, you just in case people don't know, you were my inspiration for building this outdoor office because you had an outdoor office.
that's right.
And then I've got your color boards in behind me, and you said, where'd you get those shelves for your color boards? And then you got the color boards. Well, you had the color, so I mean, I love that, you know, we get inspired all by
That's
each
right.
other, you know, sort of
So
thing. But
Claire, yeah, and Claire inspired me to put up the plexiglass. Oh, we can't see them here, but the plexiglass shelves that display all the color boards. So I did this renovation last year, like last summer, because we realized, you know, we've been leading my live workshop.
Oh, you're muted.
I don't know how that happened. Okay. So, so because we've been leading my live workshops, teaching color to designers and homeowners all around North America for the last 10 years, of course, we had to go virtual. So then we did this makeover, and you can see we put up the paneling, which works so well on displaying the color boards for photo shoots, and just adds some, like the whole room was painted Chantilly lace, because in my system, Chantilly lace is a true white, and it's the white to compare all the other whites to. If you wanted to show your client or your spouse, you know, which white you are choosing, you need to compare, right? So that's the reason why I painted the room Chantilly lace. And so I love the paneling because it just works so well to display all the color boards. And then of course, we're seeing a lot of paneling and a lot of, you know, made up geometric paneling that's trending now, because people are looking to, you know, make their stark white walls look a little more interesting, right? Add some texture. So we're seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
And then, pardon me?
I love the paneling. You even paneled the ceiling.
Yeah, and we did the ceiling as well. Yeah, I did that with the help of my friend Jan Romanek, who's been my mentor and good friend for many years. So she helped me with that little renovation. Yeah.
No, I love it. It's funny because when I saw your office, I was like, I talked to my carpenter. I'm like, I might want to get some molding because I love how Maria like, and then he was just too busy. We never got around to doing it. But I love that because it is hard to display the board sometimes in the way that you want to display them when you're doing video or showing people what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So
and my carpenter even put some grooves in the on those pieces of wood, so that I could actually stick the board in if I had to.
Almost like a plate, right? You get those with plates if people want to display their plates, a little plate. I can't remember think of the name of it. Susan probably knows, but I can't think of the name of that.
And then I'm just showing basically where I am right now is, you know, just because we're all on Zoom. So I created this pretty little Zoom backdrop so that, you know, there'd be no danger of anyone knowing that I was not, or that I'm a designer.
I love it. And there's a lot of natural wood tones there too, which you're talking about in your blog, and about warming up the white with natural wood tones, greenery.
That's right. You know, and of course this world of cognac warms up gray beautifully too, right? So yes.
It looks lovely. I love it. Love the console too. It's very funky.
Yes, thank you. Flowers, I'm obsessed with flowers, so they seem to turn up everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. Well, thank you, Maria. That's awesome. And is that a leopard print rug, but just not like the
but a little more subtle. That's right. So it works with any color that I throw up in here.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we are going to look at some color predictions now for 2022. We're going to start with Rachel Moriarty, but in case anyone's interested first, this is the rendering that we've done for my kitchen renovation that's happening next year. So we've thrown that in there. So I'm very excited
Love
to have
it.
it be my new kitchen. Thank you.
Fabulous.
All right. Rachel. Where is
Claire?
Hello.
I was so excited to see Maria's project. I think purple, purple is so underrated. I did my bedroom for a couple of one-room projects ago, and I used purple, and I did a purple ceiling very similar to this thistle, and it is the most calming color. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I really want to advocate for purples.
Oh, I'm with you. It's my favorite color. I'm with you. It is my favorite.
Yes.
Actually,
And
I'll tell you a funny story quickly here. When I was looking at kitchen inspiration, I remember, Maria, I reached out to you and I was like, I'm looking and I'm saving all these things on Instagram that are like black kitchens and, you know, the white backdrop and the wood shelving, like everything that's on trend. And I was like, I really love the look of these, but am I going to get tired of these in a few years? And she's like, yes, you are. And I was like, okay. She's like, what's your favorite color? I said, purple. She's like, why don't you paint it purple? So it's not quite purple. It's one of my colors that I've predicted, but
yes.
Anyway, but yes, so I am with you 100% when it comes to.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's amazing. I also added in pewter green. Green is everywhere. I would say any green, all shades. I mean, you're just seeing it. And when we were at market, you saw it everywhere. It makes sense. When we talk about trends, there's always drivers. You know, if you have your ear to the ground, you know, you don't really have to have your ear to the ground too hard to know that we're in a global pandemic and wellness is, you know, a big, you know, wellness is huge right now, and green sort of represents that. And so I love this. I love this sort of muted, neutral green. I mean, I would use this in a kitchen or a bath, something that you really have to commit to. And then henna and, you know, more earth tones. We're seeing a lot of earth tones, a lot of natural stones come back. It's crazy because I've been pulling travertine out of homes, and you're kind of starting to see travertine come back, like on furniture tops, and, you know, and you're seeing mixed, you're seeing wood, metal, and natural stone on a lot of furniture. So naturally that would include marble and travertine. And so you're seeing this earthy element. And so I think these terracottas are coming back. These, you know, I think, you know, a couple of years ago, a cavern clay came out as one of the colors of the year. I think now, you know, it's starting to trickle. The paint industry is always ahead. And it just finally, like, you're seeing it out, you know, in markets on furnishing.
And cavern clay is very similar to like a cognac, right? Like it's very, it's warm. This color apparently, because Linda Holt was lovely, because I wasn't able to make it to High Point, and we did a blog on color trends from High Point, and she said this color, this henna shade, which is similar to Wildflower by Benjamin Moore, which was in its color trends for 2022. She said it was in every showroom, this color in some way.
Yeah, and a lot of
color that, the rust that's close to cognac, right? I mean,
and even deeper into the red, and so you're seeing this whole really warm.
Well, red is back finally, right? We've been pulling it out of people's dining rooms for years.
I know. So yeah, this is sort of my palette of things that I'm predicting for 2022.
I love this, and I also love the pewter green. I don't use a lot of Sherwin-Williams. I mean, we just don't. I've just probably because I've always had Maria's Benjamin Moore boards, and I know she also has Sherwin-Williams, but I've never seen this pewter green. And I'm like, green and purple are my two. They were the two colors for my business when I started. Yes. Like I love your.
I'm a green and magenta. Like my house has green magenta all over it. So I love these two colors together. But this is a very toned down palette that I think would be easy for people to work with, especially if you're a consumer and you just want, you know, some accent colors. You have your neutral walls and you want to bring in some, you know, throws and pillows and fun things like that. So this would be a pretty palette.
I love it. I think it's beautiful. Thank you for that. All right, Susan, you've got some from Benjamin Moore and some from Farrow and Ball. Talk us through your selections here for the 2022 color trends prediction.
Yes, so I chose Richmond Gold. It is a beautiful kind of dusty gold yellow, and I saw a historic house done with this color in the dining room years ago, and it's always stuck in my mind because it was one of the most beautiful rooms I've ever seen in my life. And this is coming from a person who, when we moved into our house, everything was painted harvest yellow.
Right.
So I am scarred from it, and I am warming up to this color again. You know, my previous life, you know, I was a creative director at an agency. I watched trends really closely. I watched strategy, how culture affects what we do visually. And I do think that obviously we're in what seemingly is like a never-ending pandemic. And I think that if things start to improve by the end of this next year, we're going to start seeing colors like this, like Richmond Gold, kind of reintroduced and kind of very forward and future focused in society. And you know, and I think that the same could be said for the clear spring green. You know, my foundation again is like in historic colors, but I love like those old, like, you know, what is it? It's like an arsenic color or something to that. And it's like kind of bright, but kind of dark and a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting color.
And I think that we're going to start seeing this. Like, I'm obsessed with this color for our mudroom renovation. I want to see like floor to ceiling this color in a mudroom with like beautiful marble countertops, you know, beautiful tile that has color in it. So this is a color that is squarely on my radar. And of course, going back to like what everyone's talking about, purple. This is Farrow and Ball. This is inspired by, I think, like the concept of like Brussels sprouts or a food item that has purple in it. Isn't that where the Braskia name comes from? Like that group of, if any gardeners that do like different lettuces and cabbages, that particular food group is where this color name comes from.
Oh, well, you and Rachel both picked a similar purple, and I was gonna pick this purple too because I got it in the living room, right?
You have it in your actual house.
You have it in your art.
My team was like, you know, purple's yesterday. That was last year. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll put something else.
You know what? I think it was the Pantone color of the year, wasn't it? I think Pantone brought out a
well, theirs is more lavender. Well, it's periwinkle. It's like
it's a brighter blue.
It's like a purpley blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is like a very like kind of natural version of purple.
I mean,
someone wrote kale.
Everywhere.
Suzanne wrote kale in the chat, and that's like the family that I'm thinking of. You know, whenever you get into like food and color and what's like a natural pigment and what's natural to the eye, this particular you know, version of the purple trend is something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. And I love too, like same with Rachel's, like all of these three colors work beautifully together. And at the end, I put together the whole palette, which I don't think I sent you guys when I sent the document over, but I decided to put them all together. And they're really, you could use all of these colors, you know, they're really gorgeous. So even the three trio together, I love it. Thank you. And I love that you threw in a Farrow and Ball, because, you know, I do like those colors as well. Yep. Benjamin Moore, Maria.
Right. Well, you know, somebody had said when I had posted my on my Instagram, I'd posted trending colors, and because I recently updated my VIP collection, which happens to be Benjamin Moore, which are the large color samples that I sell on my website. But I am, and Tate Olive is one of them, because as you all said, I mean, greens in every shade. It's interesting because forest green was the thing in the 80s, and then that turned into, you know, olive greens and all these grayer greens. But right now, all greens are back, except, you know, of course, those yellow greens that we've been doing for 20 years, they're like taking a back seat because all these colors, all colors have their moment as well, right? So yeah, so I mean, greens are really big right now for cabinetry. They're just everywhere. I mean, really, people are painting their cabinets colors now because, of course, there's so much white that people are looking for color in cabinets. They're looking for color in their trim. And so, right. So going back to, people were like, well, Maria, like, why do you just have Benjamin Moore colors on your colors that I was talking about? And that's only because we happen to have that collection in Benjamin Moore. People have been asking for a color collection in Sherwin-Williams, and we are looking at putting that together as well. So, but that's the only reason why I've got all Benjamin Moore here. So, and then this kind of more in the terracotta realm. This is also a big color, just like purple would have been right here as well. But and then the Navajo White, you know, like that's the color in my living room. But I've noticed we're specifying so much of that lately just that warmer, creamy, orangey yellow, because in actual fact, I was just in a consultation where the client's like, I'm done with gray. Her walls were painted some kind of, I think they were, I don't know what they were, just like a classic gray or something. And she said, I'm really done with gray, but she inherited the gray floors in her house. And she said, we're not going to stay here long enough for me to take the gray floors out. So she's working with them. But anyway, I plunked up, Navajo White and Indian White, and because they're both like in the orange beige complex cream category, the palest of the beiges. And Navajo White was perfect. It just picked up, because a lot of those gray floors have that. Have you guys noticed that? Have a yellow undertone, like literally have that yellow undertone to them. So, you got to get the warmth from somewhere. So
That's
she
right.
said, great, you know what? If I paint my walls this color, then I can live with these gray floors. So,
Maria, what is the Sherwin-Williams equivalent of the Benjamin Moore Navajo White? Is it like shoji, or what would you say?
You know what? I have to look it up because I don't know my Sherwin-Williams colors as well as my.
I'd be curious. Maybe we can do a follow-up.
Yeah. No, I will look it up. I will look it up now, shortly, and then I'll let you guys know. But yeah.
Yeah,
so that's what those are my predictions.
And I've never heard of Foxy Brown, but I like the color, but also the name's like Foxy.
But I mean, this is just kind of the world of like the terracottas, the peachy kind of colors.
It's just more muted than
they're all coming back.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share actually, because I had the pleasure of seeing all of your predictions before, earlier.
Yes.
And so this in my basement, I have Schoolhouse White, which is actually very similar to Navajo White, which is painted my cabinetry. I have this fabric, which we just use on a window treatment, which is kind of like a foxy brown. And then this is green smoke, which we used on my walls, but also my living room cabinetry. So I was like, oh, I've got all three of Maria's colors. I'm on trend. I'm so thrilled. But yeah, they look gorgeous together as well. And because I was able to see your girls, because I love all these colors too, but I painted some blue because I feel like blue has been sort of like left out, even like in the Benjamin Moore color trends, it was just mysterious, which I love that color. And I think, as you guys said, like the greens are definitely here. Green's always been it's one of my favorite colors. I have green eyes. It always works well with, and so I love wearing that color as well. But yeah, so I chose some blues here. The Kensington Blue is the one that you saw in the rendering of my kitchen. That is the color that we're choosing for my cabinetry. And I think blue, like Rachel, like you said, like it's like a neutral, like it never goes out of style. Like Hail Navy has been so popular for so long. Van Dusen Blue by Benjamin Moore. Like
I love Kensington Blue. It's a great purpley blue.
Right, because I love purple. So I couldn't quite commit to the purple. I couldn't quite, even though I love purple, I couldn't quite commit to purple. But so this was sort of like my happy in between.
I always tell people, if they're afraid of color, start with blue. I mean, it is so iconic.
Yes.
It has been around for hundreds of years. So, I always just think of like the Greek island. There's so many, the classic navy suit, a menswear stripe, it's so classic. You cannot go wrong. So this is a beautiful palette.
It never goes out of style, right? And so that's what I thought too. I thought, honestly, I threw in Stratton Blue again, because I have Maria's boards here. I think that's one of your boards, Maria. I'm thinking about doing that on my island now with the wallpaper that we selected for one of my walls. And what I'm really craving is I'm craving the beach. Like Rachel, you live in California, you lucky lady. I mean, we are looking at like a bit of snow on the ground here. It is just going to be dark for the next, sort of 4 months, 5 months. Susan's nodding her head. She's in New York. She gets it. Like I am really craving those blue waters, the crystal waters, the teal, the dark blue, really missing that. So I had to give a shout out to blue here. And in fact, the Stratton Blue is really a blue green, but just love the color. And then pale oak, like I think, as Maria said, like, people are, as they're learning that, gray is we're coming out of the gray trends, and gray's kind of like had it in terms of like, the Metropolitan and the Coventry gray, Stonington gray that we've been seeing for so long. But I think white is so stark for a lot of people, and they're just not really sure about going to white, or they want to do it, but maybe they don't have the right house for it, or the rest of their design style doesn't quite go that way. And so pale oak is one of the colors that we've been specifying quite a bit. We did it in the living room, a dining room, those two rooms that you saw of the more colorful palette that we used. We're using it in a client's bedroom next year. So it's just, again, it's one of those colors that pulls really almost like what Revere.
It's a fabulous taupe grayish.
Right,
Beautiful.
right.
Beautiful.
And so like
so
what
much,
Revere
people
Pewter
have
was
so
year
much
ago.
taupe too, right? Because it's warmer than gray.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it also works a lot with like different countertops and
Yeah.
stones and flooring and so so those
Lots
are
of
sort of
quartz has a taupe undertone. Yeah.
yeah. So for anyone that's like, not really wanting white and not really wanting gray, I find pale oak is a really nice, at least look at it as a consideration. So
Okay, Navajo White is Casablanca.
Oh,
75.
Casablanca. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean,
Whatever.
Maria's been talking about grays are out, but I think people have to understand that if you're going to use color, you have to have a neutral to jump off on. And it depends what the colors that you like to use in your home are. Mine are a deeper color. My walls are gray. So that's, it's not going to change because I use such deep, dark colors. It would look weird if I had a bright white in my home. So
and also the reason why gray came in is because beige died with all the bright colors that we suddenly started to decorate with. I mean, gray was the perfect crisp backdrop for all those colors. So, and there's nothing wrong with gray. It's just that when people go gray on gray on gray on gray, that they get depressed, right?
Yes. Or brown on brown on brown on brown.
That's right. Or now black on black on black on black.
Exactly.
Well, it's so funny because I watched your video, Maria, and you're just like, the gray sofa, the gray floors, and all this. And I was like, I just got a gray sofa. Oh my God, I love my gray sofa, but of course my backdrop is green smoke and I've got all these similar colors to what you see in here, sort of thing. So I was like, okay, my gray sofa is okay, and after for so years we had a mushroom beige sofa. So I was just happy to see anything other than that mushroom beige sofa. So here's all the colors together. Are they pretty?
That is pretty. We should sell that. We should sell that curation.
We're gonna patent that. We're gonna sell that. I think it looks lovely. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So I have not been looking at the chat, but I see we do have 78 comments. I've seen some more coming through, but I haven't looked yet. Before we get to that, I just want to share just really quickly because I know we're nearly at 4 o'clock. But the biggest upcoming trend, I wasn't at High Point. Rachel, you were there. Linda Holt told me the hashtag was boucle all day. This fabric, this boucle that almost looks like a little woolly lamb that you just want to pet.
Everything had texture. Everything had texture. Even the case goods, everything had some sort of texture to it. So yeah, definitely in upholstery, boucle was, which I'm not mad about because it reminds me of Chanel suits. So
it's awesome. And then I found these hats. I saw someone actually sharing on Instagram hats, and then I found this hat because I was like, and I noticed it in stores and fashion and coats and sweaters and stuff. So
adorable.
I don't know if you guys want to touch on anything else that you've noticed, like in terms of design. People are talking about rattan and wicker, and is there anything you want to just touch on quickly before we can take some questions for interior design that you kind of see coming in 2022 or that's not going away?
Maria's been talking about the cognac, and I am seeing honey oak come back too, which is another thing we can kind of covering up, pulling out, replacing, and now we're working with it. And I think if you have something honey oak, I don't know, Maria, you can definitely chime in, but I think a navy goes great with it. It's a way to update it to me. And
because there's so much warm wood coming back, so suddenly all the honey oak floors that people were in a hurry to rip out, they kind of work, right? With all the warm wood kitchens and the paneling, we're seeing paneling. We're starting to see that paneling, but of course it doesn't look like 70s paneling, but we're starting to see wood paneled walls, right? And the colors are warmer now. They're very close to the world of honey oak, which is why
not quite there, not quite as orange yellow, but definitely going that direction.
That's right.
Yeah, it's funny because we're tearing out my floors in my 1967 bungalow, and they are a honey oak. They're orange, but they're like super thin, and we're tearing down walls.
But know what's interesting? I was in a house the other day, and it was a beautiful modern house, and she'd done it in her kitchen was white and walnut, the combination of white and walnut. And it's funny because I've been seeing so much of this warm world of cognac and warmer woods. Because if cognac's going to be trending as a trendy neutral sofa, then then all the warm tones that go with that are going to come in, right? And so it's funny, I had this experience of looking at her walnut, the pantry wall, and thought it seemed a bit cool to me because I've been seeing all this warm wood everywhere. So it's just, and then everyone throws their hands up and says, oh, you can't keep up with trends. But you know, the idea is just not to overdo the trends like just keep choosing, making that choice, everything black, you know, everything, you know, well, I mean, we're not going to do everything orange, but that's the good thing. You can balance the cognac. What I like about this current trend of black, white, and cognac is that I feel like people can pull it off, you know, like it's easy. It's an easy look to pull off. And so then you don't end up with this completely gray palette, completely brown palette from the brown trend, because, you know, no one's going to do orange everything, but you throw in that, you know, cognac sofa, and then you've got a little bit of gray, got a little bit of white, bring in some natural baskets.
Yeah.
You're
Some
done.
greenery. Yeah.
Right? I
All
mean,
good. It's
you know,
easy. It's easy doing what we do.
easy
Is that
look
what
to
you're saying,
pull off.
Claire?
Yeah. You know, and not everybody's a decorator. So, I mean, then, you know, we all want to live in a house that makes us happy when we walk in the door. And so,
That's right.
you know, a look that's easier to pull off. And all I would say is just don't go with the stark white walls, you know, consider, you know, perhaps you need to have a bit of a, you know, pale beige happening, or, you know, that's why I threw in the Navajo white in my in my predictions. So, yeah.
What about you, Susan? Any sort of interior design trends that you've been seeing you think are going to last or come in?
Well, I think that traditional has caught on with a new generation. And while I think that traditional is always in style because it's a classic, I do think that I'm seeing a new generation discover it. And that's very exciting, because
It is.
the way that you see people interpret things that have been around for a very long time is always really interesting. So I think that's something that we're going to see more of in the next, say, 5 years.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And I love, like you said, how you love the wood furniture, and with all of those deep colors that you use, it looks so beautiful. And the other thing, I think you're right, Susan, because I use a lot of modern Italian furniture. And so it's always like track arm, modern lines, clean lines. I've just, you know, a couple of weeks ago, somebody asked me for, you know, sort of the round arm on a sofa. They just want that like to cuddle up, and they, you know, they do love the antique woods and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, I think you're definitely, the pendulum's coming back. And I always love traditional. I have a mix of you know, heirloom furniture, and a lot of my clients, I go in and they have heirloom furniture. I'm looking at a Duncan 5-piece that Maria painted white. I have a Duncan 5-piece from a couple of pieces in my house from, you know, my husband's grandmother. And of course, we're never going to get rid of them, you know, so it's definitely, I love the mix of a modern traditional or new traditionals, which what I like to call it.
It's also what like creates personality in a space, right? And if something has been an heirloom and passed down, it has a story. And I mean, those stories live with us and they become part of us and part of your home.
Yeah. And I think that like our house is pretty traditional, but with lighting, I tend to either swing really traditional and antique or really contemporary, like really modern. Like I don't want the middle. The transitional is what I stay away from. I go, you know, really strictly one or the other.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up. Just be respectful of everyone's time. It's 20 after 4, and I've had such a good time, and I want to thank all of my panelists for agreeing to do this today. And like I said, doing it so close to Christmas. I love
Thank
all
you,
of
Claire.
you. I love watching all of you on Instagram. So I've got our handles up here. So make sure you do connect. Reach out. I DM. If you DM me, I will DM you back. That's just the way I am. I'll probably voice message you. And yeah, just go there for inspiration. All of these gals. Susan is like big on stories. I mean, Susan, you are mainly the story girl on Instagram. You do almost solely stories on Instagram. Maria is doing killing it at reels, getting inspired by her reels. And Rachel's feed is just full of color. It will not disappoint you. So I want to say thank you.
So fun
for coming today.
Thanks, everyone.
And happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
And,
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for setting this up, Claire.
Bye.
Yeah, of course. Cheers, guys.
Bye.